North versus South, free states versus slave states, Union versus Confederate. Whatever you want to call it, the relationship between both groups caused great hostility and instability, leading to the Civil War. Slavery was the main reason for contention during the pre-Civil War era. Over many years, slavery in America had been attached to African Americans. In this atmosphere, the seeds of white supremacy were sown. Even when the US Constitution was ratified in 1789, very few black people and no enslaved people were allowed to vote or own property. By 1808, a ban on the importation of slaves from Africa became illegal in the United States. However, the end of international slave trade meant that domestic slaves were high in demand. As a result, this did very little in slowing slavery. A growing movement to abolish slavery had led many northern states to create an abolitionist laws and detach from enslavement. With an economy based more on industry than agriculture, the North thrived with a sharp increase in European immigrants. Many immigrants were hired as factory workers at low wages, therefore reducing the need for enslaved people in the North. In the southern states, longer growing seasons and fertile soils had established an economy based on agriculture, fueled by sprawling, wide-owned plantations that depended on enslaved people to perform a wide range of duties. When Eli Whitney invented the cotton gin in 1793, cotton became very profitable. This machine was able to reduce the time it took to separate seeds from the cotton. The cotton gin allowed a slave to remove the seeds from 50 pounds of cotton a day compared to 1 pound if done by hand. This encouraged plantations to move from other crops to cotton, creating a greater need for slavery. The southern economy became a one-crop economy, depending on cotton and therefore on enslaved people. In the following years, a huge increase in production resulted in the cotton boom. By 1850, of 3.2 million slaves, 1.8 million were producing cotton. In contrast, industry ruled the economy of the North. Many northern industries were purchasing the South's raw cotton and turning it into finished goods. This economic imbalance contributed to the conflicting differences in societal and political views. The United States was a lot smaller in 1800 than it is today. The United States nearly doubled in size with the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, and so the Midwest expansion began. Many new states were formed over the following years. The South desired these new states to be slave states, and the North free states. The US Senate was split with equal number of pro-slavers versus anti-slavers, meaning it was often difficult to come to an agreement. 1812, Louisiana was formed as a slave state. By 1817, the new states of Indiana and Mississippi were formed, Indiana becoming a free state, Mississippi slave state. 1819, Alabama was formed to a slave state, Illinois a free state. 1820, the Missouri Compromise was created, amid growing sectional tensions over the issue of slavery. The US passed a law that admitted Missouri to the Union as a slave state and Maine as a free state, while banning slavery from the remaining Louisiana Purchase lands located north of the 36 degree by 30 north parallel. However, territories were open for debate. In 1837, Arkansas became a slave state and Michigan a free state. Florida became a slave state in 1846. Iowa became a free state. More land was inherited after the Mexican-American War. The war with Mexico was an attempt by Southern statesmen to secure more slave states. In the same light, Northerners pushed for homestead bills to virtually pay people to settle in the Midwest. In 1848, Wisconsin to the north and Texas to the south were formed. 1850, California was formed on the west coast. Some of the landmass was located south of the 36 degrees by 30 north line. However, California requested to become a free state. The compromise was made. During this period, there was much talk of all new states being free states. Cotton was not effective to grow in many Midwest states, and therefore slavery would not be needed. Secondly, the abolitionist movement was sharply increasing. The belief that blacks should be free from slavery was quickly becoming a widely accepted opinion. Tensions were rising in 1854. Kansas and Nebraska were the next states up for grabs. Things quickly spiraled out of control with the Kansas-Nebraska Act. Disputes escalated for and against either position. The US Constitution agreed the residents of the territory would vote for a free or slave state themselves, calling it popular sovereignty. Kansas was north of the Missouri Agreement line. The area devolved into a civil war, with many extremist pro-slavers and anti-slavers flocking to the area. Voter fraud turned into armed threats and then open warfare for 5 years. The territory became known as Bleeding Kansas. On a national level, the conflict destroyed the Whig Party, cracked the Democrats into North and South factions, and inspired the rise of the Republican Party in 6 years. 1861, Abraham Lincoln became president, the South seceding from the North shortly after, starting the Civil War. Hey guys, if you made it this far, thanks so much for your support. If you want to support my channel further, hit the subscribe button.